Hi, everybody. So, just finished watching the England game. What a game the other game was. So, England played really well, and they did what they needed to do. Very good first half. Very strong start by England, and it was very fascinating to see them line up with Grealish on the left, Sterling. They were both interchanging actually. Sterling was spent a lot of the time in the middle behind Harry Kane, and then BUKAYO Saka, who was definitely, if not man of the match, was definitely man of the first half. He gave England a different level of intensity with his ball carrying and his running at defenders with the ball, something that was missing in the Scotland game. He also was very involved in probably in all of, or at least majority of England's best moments in that first half. And I'm not saying this just because I'm an Arsenal fan. I mean, the boy was really good today in his first appearance at a major tournament for his country. Jack Grealish did enough to justify why people were, calling for him to be given an opportunity in this tournament, because he gets the assist, and I think he does well to do that. But I think he did a lot of other things really well as well. Between him and Raheem Sterling and Bukayo Saka worked really well off of one another. It was as though they had played together before, maybe at a club football level or something like that. And it was a good mix as well, because they were all, good, all guys who are good at running with the ball, as well as finding a pass when they need to. And Bukayo Saka, as we know, is good. Is a left-footed player who can actually use his right foot. So that was really helpful. So that meant England wins the group, and Croatia, with their win over Scotland, they beat Scotland quite handily actually in Hampden Park today, with a very good goal from Luka Modric to make it 2-1. It was 1-1 at halftime, and then Croatia basically they did what they are able to do. They carved Scotland open. Scotland did well, to make it 1-1 just before halftime, but Croatia just had too much for them on the day. England had a great first half, I would say, maybe good to great, maybe, depending on how harsh you want to grade. But they did really well, in my opinion, in that first half, and then they started to become a little bit more cautious and safe once they had to protect the lead in the second half. That didn't stop them from playing, but they just were a lot less adventurous for my liking in that second half. But it was also, to be fair, a lot of those players who started around Kane and Sterling, the two players who started around Kane and Sterling were playing in their first tournament start for England. And then behind them, you had midfielders as well who were also quite young and playing in their first tournament. So, maybe people in England will be even less happier than I am with the performance, but they did enough to win the group, and I'm happy that they showed a little bit of confidence in themselves and not try to deliberately lose this game, as some people were kind of like recommending that England needs to maybe try and lose this game so that they can get they can get an easier draw in the next round, which is ridiculous. You just back yourself and you live with the results. And so, with that said, it was very, very good all round for England. Good changes by Southgate. It was an improvement on the Scotland performance in terms of like the thrust they had and the cutting edge. I'm not talking about the score line here. I know this is a win and the Scotland game was a draw, but there was a little bit more sharpness to the way they played forward, and it was really, really good. I mean, I guess the Czech Republic helped them a little bit because they were a little bit more prepared to try and play, because the Czech Republic are a better footballing side. Let's be real, than Scotland. Scotland made it hard and played a low block, which made it hard for England to do this. The things that they were able to do today. However, I think had they played players with the profile they played today, they would have probably caused Scotland even more problems than they did on the day. So just wanted to say that really briefly. And what it looks like right now, the group stages are almost done. I mean, the first 4 groups are sorted out. Italy wins this one with Wales going number 2, and then it looks like Switzerland will be one of the best qualifying third place teams because they got 4 points. And then you have Finland in this group. This is a very remarkable story. Denmark was a very unfortunate team when they played their first game and lost to Finland, a game that I think they would have won had it not been for that unfortunate happenstance with Christian Eriksen, which I won't go too deeply into it now. But they came back and showed a valiant effort against Belgium, and in my video of that game, I said if they play like that, they are going to win their next game, and boy did they! They annihilated Russia and got themselves second place, which is kind of strange because all 3 teams had one win, but I think they were the second best team in this group. So it makes sense from that vantage point. Even though they had lost, it made sense from that vantage point that Denmark, got second place. The Netherlands were electric, and 3-5-2 seems to not be an issue. They playing, with conviction, and they playing with such freedom, and credit to the coach because he had fans flying planes over the training ground before the first game of the tournament. I don't think teams are going to be looking forward to facing the Netherlands in the next round, and I don't think they have enough to win the whole tournament, but they look like they have options all around the field. And to name a few, Daniel Mullen looks even better than Wout next to Memphis Depay as part of the front two. So, and then you have Ryan Gravenberch or Gravenberch, if you want to give it a more of a Dutch pronunciation, from Ajax. They had other people coming into the midfield, and they had options definitely in the midfield and going forward. In the back line, not so deep, but they have enough there to play with 3 centre back, especially if Daley Blind stays fit. The Dutch should be fine moving forward. Let's see if they can make it into the quarterfinals, maybe even semis. I think they are the team that most people thought Turkey would be in this tournament. A lot of people thought Turkey were going to be the dark horses. And it's hard to kind of think of the Netherlands as a dark horse because they're a big footballing nation, but it looks like they are really front lining at the moment as far as if that was an award to be won, I think the Netherlands would be one of the teams, if not the team, to take it. And then they qualify obviously with Austria and Ukraine. And then Group D, we just saw that today. It's sorted out. It comes down now to these last 2 groups tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I think, like I said in one of my earlier videos today, if these 2 teams, France and Portugal, draw, they should be fine. And maybe Germany wins the group, or who knows. But this is, whoever gets number 2 in this group is probably going to beat whichever number 1 team they playing against. I think it's that England group. But I think if I'm England, I want Germany as the number 2. I think England will probably beat Germany. I don't think England beats France or Portugal. I could be proved wrong, but I think even though I actually liked the way Germany played the other day, I think their matchup with England would be a really good one. So let's see what happens in the games tomorrow. But this has already almost been decided now. It seems, unless somebody loses by a massive score, and then it kicks them out of the 3rd place opportunity to qualify as 3rd place. But number 1, 2, 3 in this tournament is actually likely to do business. I don't know how these teams end up in the same group, but that's what happened. And in my opinion, when they get out of this group, if they get out all 3 of them, they're going to be a problem in the next round. So with that said, exciting times. Teams are starting to know where they stand now, who they're likely to face, and everybody's doing their calculations. And the weekend is coming soon, and the games now are going to be meaningful because it's win or go home time.